Well, good morning. So, hey, I want to get on here and say I'm planning to go live today. Anyway, I was just talking with my wife. She didn't take very kindly to the story, so I figured maybe my captive audience would love it. So, obviously, Joe Biden has, I don't know that it actually happens immediately. Not super clear on that. But I think it had November 30th. 2024 on it. So I think Joe Biden pardoned his son for everything from a 10-year period. I believe it was December 1st. Somebody could call me on that. December 1st, 2014 to December 1st, 2024. I think that was what he got. I'm frequently wrong and I don't get called out about it enough. But I was explaining to my wife this morning. We got up at 3:49. Part of the 4 a.m. club every morning since the election. So we just go to bed at 8 o'clock. like, um, and I was telling my wife about how, oh shit, this story about Joe Biden pardoning his son is going to be a big story. And I have a post from like last night with thousands of views. Cool. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Sorry, I just took a drink of coffee, so I burped. That's my fault. Ooh, excuse me. Um, so I was telling my wife, like, oh shit, this is a big story. What qualifies as a big story, Jared? Okay, so I follow our news, our politics, our world politics, and then a bunch of the sports stuff and local stuff, right? On Reddit. Well, it's early in the morning, so I'm getting before the fluff, right? Before all the content creators wake up, I get the news from the internet, from Reddit, from our news, so I get to see every news story you see in condensed form. Typically, I got a bunch of links open. I'm reading a bunch of articles. I try to cross reference as much as I can because I actually have what is called journalistic integrity. Yeah, you ain't gonna believe this. Before I tell you something, I gotta verify that, and I don't want to be the one breaking stuff. Why? There's a measure of responsibility in breaking stuff. You have to get it right every single time, and you will get called out when you are wrong. Okay? So, anyway, Aaron Parnas broke last night that Joe Biden was going to pardon Hunter Biden, and then, a couple flicks of the wrist, and I seen two other videos, and I thought, well, let me go Google, and I went and seen it, and I saw the official letter, and I was like, I better make a video, right? I made a video last night, went to bed, didn't, and all it was like, dude, I have like over 4,000 followers at this point. I have like 25,000 likes. Like, I haven't even been here a month. Clearly, I have an audience, right? Hey, I should have let y'all know. Like, Joe Biden's gonna pardon his son on a Sunday. Oh shit, is about to get lit. So I was telling my wife this morning when we got up, we both made our coffee, and she decided she's going to stay home with me today. And she's like, what are you going to talk about today? And I said, that's the thing about me. I'm not scripting shit. I'm living a lucid, real, like this shit is real. Whatever I see, we are going to talk about. I'm going to try to verify before. I'm going to come to you and say, like, feel free to do your own research. If I'm not able to verify, I'm going to let you know that it's strong conviction or hyperbole, or I'm connecting some dots. You know what I mean? This TikTok is for entertainment purposes only, right? Like, I'm sort of learning the lingo. You notice I've stopped saying the things that get your videos automatically off violation because I got way too many people telling me they could fix it, and it's like, well, then fix it, doofus. And then I started getting stuff fixed, and I'm like, oh, there's like 7 things you can't say. Cool. All right, so I was telling my wife, like, oh, this Joe Biden shit is gonna blow up because it's everywhere. And she's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, our news, our politics, our world politics, every story is Joe Biden pardoning Hunter Biden. And all those billionaires that are in the same, getting money from the same place as Donald Trump, that are getting their marching orders from Vladimir Putin, they're going to talk about it non-fucking stop all week. And I was telling my wife that, like, oh my God, it's every story. And isn't it? This isn't about me. This isn't me bitching about my content getting a lot of views. So I know there are people out there like, is he about to complain? No, I wouldn't have gone on here and done what I did if I didn't think it was going to hit, son. What I'm saying is, I posted it because I was like, oh, that's, and I made a joke in my post from last night that it was like kicking off the apocalypse. No, I don't actually think that's what kicks off the apocalypse. I just think it's dominating the news cycle. And so when everyone wakes up today, that post that I made last night is going to get hot. And so go have fun in that comment section. And then the reason I'm making this video this morning is my wife blurts out, because she's trying to watch something on TV and she want me to fucking leave, so she's going to tilt me, right? And she says, I don't understand why it's such a big deal. And I said, what do you mean? And she said, like Joe Biden pardoning his son. It's not like he did anything wrong. And I had said last night, it's not like he incited an insurrection, sold government secrets, killed 5 DC cops or smeared shit on the Capitol walls. I think he filled out a form to buy a gun wrong. Anyway, so she didn't quite understand. Like, I don't understand why it's a big deal. And I'm like, right. But it's about who's going to decide that this is a big deal, that this is a miscarriage of justice. This is abuse of power, right? There's some hypocritical shit, because all I can tell you is Donald Trump pardoned Paul Manafort, if you really want to talk about it. Roger Stone, Mike Flynn, like, get the fuck out of here. The entire fuck. Those ain't even his family. Anyway, so she's like, I don't understand why it's such a big deal. And I get triggered. Hey, look at that. I actually have emotion. Shit happens to me. Yeah. So my wife, when I'm explaining to my wife, like, man, this is going to dominate the news cycle. Republicans are just going to, this is jet fuel for whatever happens the rest of the week. And then I happen to come across an exchange on Blue Sky. I'm on Blue Sky, by the way. You can find me. Okay. I go by my government name, because I ain't afraid of you yokels. So my wife's like, I just don't understand why it's going to be a big deal. And I was like, well, it already is. It's like every news story right now. And again, we're up early enough on Monday morning. There's not a lot else to talk about. And that's why it's going to be a big deal, because all those major news organizations, they need their clicks. They're going to talk about Joan. So Donald Trump's going to do something even more insane than making Kash Patel the head of the FBI and shit, right? Like, he has to one up. And the thing about it is, I keep making content and telling y'all, like, I don't see the GOP and MAGA and Donald Trump as the superior beings. Talk about turning white supremacy into a fucking joke. Like, look at Donald Trump and his fucking cabinet. It's a bunch of sex pests, right? Sex pests, Russian and Israeli assets that are all trying to dodge FBI background checks. Yo, try to get a job ever and skip out on a background check. See about you getting a job, right? Also, that's what I think is going to happen for Donald Trump. Also, if I'm the FBI and somebody nominates you for a cabinet position, and you're like, nah, fam, trying to dodge the FBI background check. Yo, I'm coming to your house. The fuck? We got to talk, son. And I'm not FBI. I'm just saying, like, if I was the FBI and you won the fucking election, Don, and your dumbass starts appointing people way before you should. By the way, I want to keep pointing that out. Hey, he ain't supposed to be doing that. That's wild. Appointing people before the election is certified and you've been inaugurated is insane. But I also think that the Democrats are working behind the scenes with big media and Republicans so that they can do their investigation without raising much suspicion. And the news is dominated by Donald Trump's cabinet picks. that are out of line and absurd. And I hope you're starting to pick up what I'm dropping. Like, I'm saying that, like, when Donald Trump, like, it's like I want to say I know it happened because I was in the military. Specifically the fucking Marine Corps. Order is like a thing. And I'm telling you, when Donald Trump went to the fucking White House for lunch, it's hard to iterate this in a way that other people understand it. Go listen to Donald Trump. Remember, he lies about everything. He lies about everything. Put it in your brain. Donald Trump, like, everything out of his mouth is a projection or a lie. Okay? Donald Trump, remember the Morning Joe? How they went to Mar-a-Lago after Donald Trump left the White House. When he sat with Joe Biden in front of the fireplace and the fire is not normally lit and it was lit and Donald Trump was sitting up all rigid and Joe Biden was sitting back relaxed, chilling outside the pool with a couple of guys that he grew up with, right? And what I'm talking about is Donald Trump does a radio interview about his visit with Morning Joe. And they asked him, did they ask you about your lunch at the White House? And he was like, yeah. And I told him it was a perfect lunch and that Joe Biden told me congratulations on running the greatest political campaign in history. And remember, he also said on that same phone call that Joe Biden told me we were going to have a peaceful transfer of power. And that was the physical, you got to see it with your own eyes. That's not what happened, Don. You lied. He has dementia. He extended his hand and he said, we will have a peaceful transfer of power. Did he not? He said that. Joe Biden did not say that to him. It was on camera. I'm not hallucinating shit. Right? So that, he lies about everything. Are you starting to put it all together? Like, it's like, I'm presuming a lot. But I'm also saying, like, Donald Trump lies about everything. His report coming out of that White House was perfect lunch. What the fuck is even that? Remember perfect phone calls? That turned out to be not so goddamn perfect, Don? Right? And Joe Biden told me he ran the greatest political campaign in history. What really happened? Remember how I told a story about what happened at lunch? Right? Even my earpiece is like, what? Remember the story I told you about what happened at lunch? I don't think it was truth serum. I think he walked into a fucking buzzsaw. I think Kamala Harris was there, cameras, Joe Biden's there, cameras. She walks up to Don and she says, look, before you say a fucking word, I'm not certifying this election. You're not going to be the next president. But we're going to act as if. And act as if is another one of those things that I want to make sure I get out there. Because I've said loose lips sink ships. I've said don't look a gift horse in the mouth. I've told you in Sun Tzu's Art of War, it says never interrupt your opponent while they're making a mistake. And I jokingly said, way to start the apocalypse, Joe, by pardoning his son last night. And now it's dominating the news stream. And then my wife this morning, she was just like, I just don't understand why it's a big story. And it triggered me. And I said, most kids say that they were abused as a child. And she's like, yeah, most kids are lying. They were just getting their ass whooped. And I'm like, right? I said, I got regularly disciplined when I was a child. My dad had a paddle. I took paddlings. You understand? Put your hands on your knees. Don't bend over too far. And just get smacked on your ass, right? That's just the way I grew up. Shit, my grandma hit me with a switch she pulled off a tree. What the fuck y'all talking about? Which was hilarious because it still had leaves on it and shit, and the leaves caused drag. And so, like, when she'd hit you, it barely hit you, and you used to be like, ah, mama, what the fuck? Assault, assault. Anyway, so my dad beat me, and that's different than, and so it got me thinking about, because I had pointed out, this is sad, so that's why it's at the very end of a long video. Sorry. So, I made a joke in my video about how Joe Biden showed Hunter Biden a level of love that Don has never shown his own children. And that's why it's going to trigger, oh my God, I cannot wait. Everything but tears, right, is what you're going to get out of them boys. The Kushners and the Trump Juniors, right, and Eric and all them. Oh my God, they're going to do everything but cry on camera, boys. Wait till you see it, okay? And it triggered me. And I thought about, when's the last time my dad and I touched each other, like hugged, shook hands, or fist fought. And I was 16, and we were fixing our siding after a storm, and I was carrying a full sheet of plywood over my head, like Adonis. You know what I'm talking about. And my dad punched me as I passed him. And I was explaining it to my wife. And as I was explaining it, I realized, like, because I was walking towards him and I had that piece of plywood that I was carrying over my head, he couldn't punch me hit me in the face, walking toward me, because we would have, like, gone to the ground. No, he had to plan that, and he waited until we got, shoulder to shoulder, and he jabbed me in the fucking face. And I stumbled away from him, and then he thought, like, he gets to do whatever he wants, and so he went towards the house, and when I caught myself, I threw the sheet of plywood at him, and it hit him in the head and cut his ear, and I had to drive him to the hospital. And he wanted to be mad, but I told him on the way there, the next time you hit me, I'm going to kill you, unalive you. Sorry, this TikTok's for entertainment purposes only. And then he wasn't real mad at me after that, because you know why? Because he's like, yo, because I did it long enough that I know you would do that. Since I was in kindergarten until I was 16. So that's why it's going to be such a big story. Because it's going to trigger a bunch of men that have shitty relationships with their father to have to really think about their relationship with their old man. So now that I've got like 18 minutes, I'm going to post this as a podcast episode too. And I'm going to post this. So this is a doozy. That's what we call it. Anything over 15 minutes is a podcast from me. So that's why it's going to be a big deal. Because Dad told the ER that the plywood sheet fell from above and hit him. And they were like, why was your head turned? Like, that doesn't make, like, you knew it was going to happen. It doesn't make any fucking sense. And the guy looked at me, and I was wearing a shirt without sleeves on it. And he said, you know something about that? And I was just like, nah. The next time he puts his fucking hands on me, it's over. And that's the last time. I never shook his hand or hugged him since. So you should talk to your kids. You should have a good relationship with them. You should apologize for the things that you've done and your lack of communication. That's what Joe Biden pardoning his son should do for you. It should make you call your children and say that you love them. Have a good day.